Hello everyone, what's up? My name is Sharpclaw, and today I want to talk to you all about something that has kind of been bothering me, and I kind of held it in for a little bit. But basically I want to talk about this kind of ongoing trend, which today I'm just going to be basically doing analysis of some things I see regarding Sadako, aka the owner. Now, this is not only for her. This is not something that I only noticed seeing her get this hate. I've seen other weaker killers like Clown, Trapper, Myers deserve or not being deserved of this hate. And I say this because it's weird to think that some people think that these weaker killers on the more weaker scale say that they deserve to be nerfed even more. And this always struck to me as an odd thing because it's a weaker killer, right? You know, if it's a nurse or blight add-on or something like that, I might be okay with it because they do have some very strong add-ons. But this is Sadako, right? And Sadako is on the weaker scale, unfortunately. Now, in terms of like flavor, on like taste, on like what character you like the most, everyone has their own opinion. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. That's fine, you know. This video is not meant to force you into liking them. That's not the message here. The message here is kind of basically trying to give you all somewhat of a solution to this, and basically what's the problem. So, what is the problem? Well, basically, I've come across a lot of people saying that Sadako should have a cooldown to her teleport, right? And I've seen this said by many people, and so I kind of wanted to try to analyze this, and I ended up noticing that there's a kind of a pattern, and basically there's 4 main principles to why this is, right? So I'm just gonna get onto it, and I want everyone to know that the purpose of this video is not to point fingers at anyone. It's not really saying like anyone at all. I've heard many people say this. And again, 2 other killers, I've heard them say this, you know, that they deserve to be nerfed and all that stuff. And I can state many examples, but you know, I'm gonna try to keep this short, and I'm gonna try to mainly focus on Sadako. So, first of all, let's go with number 1. Number 1 is basically the people that tend to say this, that she deserves to have a cooldown, basically nerfing her on her teleport, are people that normally just play the one role, the survivor, right? And that's totally fine. You can totally be a person that just plays on the one role, and you can have a good understanding of the game just by playing one role. You don't have to play both roles in this game, right? No one's gonna force you, and you could still have a good understanding. I know this by mostly competitive players. Sometimes they just play survivor, but they get a good understanding of the killer, and without even having to play the killer. Of course, you know, when you play the killer, you get more understanding, but I noticed that the people that kind of say this are only the ones that play the survivor, and this kind of does me wrong. It kind of feels wrong because, again, I don't mean to point fingers at anyone, but you know, it's kind of like just a misunderstanding, right? Because if they had a chance to know how it is to play Sadako herself, then they know that, you know, she's on the weaker scale. She has nothing she could do in a chase. Her best anti-loop would just be the fact that she's small. I guess being small is a very good anti-loop, I guess. So the main thing that comes down to it is, you know, Sadako has only mainly the one thing going for her, which is her mobility, aka teleporting around the map, and she can do it freely and much frequently than other killers that can teleport. So let's just move on and get to point number 2, right? I'm gonna come back to this, what I'm talking about, and maybe on the third and fourth point, but anyways, let's get to point number 2. The other thing that I notice where this comes up a lot is dependent on killer playstyles, right? Oh, she's just been teleporting back to the hook, right? She's just teleporting and telling the dude that just got on the hook, oh, she's just teleporting back to gems. A playstyle normally irritates some people, right? You know, it's a camping playstyle and all that. But when a playstyle involves the killer power into it, there are a lot of killers that, you know, somehow people manage to put the killer's power and make it to use in that playstyle. You know, you can have a doctor camping, and if he has both add-ons to make it so that his shock is much more faster, he can basically not let a survivor on hook, right? You know, that's a type of playstyle. If he's camping there, he basically can do that, right? Not a lot of dogs do, but you know. What you commonly see a lot is, you know, Bubba camping a hook with his chainsaw, right? Because it's a one-down mechanic, so it basically can make it virtually impossible, you know, for another survivor to come on hook, right? A Myers just standing next to the hook and just have his stock 99, and when another survivor comes to a hook, boom, he just exposes everyone, right? You know, the playstyles shouldn't be, you know, put into a good point, because it's not really valid since other killers do it. And what, you're gonna nerf every killer now because of a playstyle? These things really aren't valid. I know it can be sucky, but you know, honestly, sometimes I even understand why a killer would camp. Like, you know, if there's one gen or no gens to be down left, the killer really doesn't have nothing to do. And I still notice some survivors don't really understand this, right? The killer is gonna need pressure, right, as they lose gens, but you know, I can leave this topic for another video, right? So that's the second point here. The third point is that, you know, it's, oh, well, other killers have cooldowns, why doesn't she? Is another thing that commonly gets put up, right? And that's basically like a comparison thing. The thing is, if we were to take all the killers to have a teleport, Hag, Freddy, and Demo, okay? You know, I'm not gonna put Nurse in here, I should really honestly only compare Freddy and Demo to them, because even Hag is a very strong killer. I really don't think that, you know, she's on the weaker scale. And I think Demo's pretty in the middle. I think Freddy is a very weak lead now, than he was before, but even back then I don't even think he was that strong. But, you know, I'm just gonna mainly focus on Demo and Freddy. I'm gonna try to compare these two. Hag is a much more stronger beast on its own. So the thing with these two is it goes back to, you know, my first point, right? Sadako is a killer that if you know her, she does not have any anti-loot, right? She mainly just has the teleport, which is the mobility. She has some sort of slowdown, which, you know, can be survivors getting tapes and, you know, maybe you condemning them, but virtually you are never probably gonna get survivor fully condemned, and that's the sad reality of it, right? It's very hard, even with some of your add-ons, it's still very hard. And even then, survivors grabbing the tape and going to the TV, you can most likely be rested assured that even if you try to chase the survivor down with the tape and you know, get them down before they, I don't know, insert the tape, it's virtually impossible. By the time you hit them, you're ending your cooldown, they insert the tape down, it's that fast, and there's nothing we can really do. So the condemned is, aka her slowdown, is very weak, and she has no chase tool, right? If you're going to say, oh, well, there's the whole demanifesting, manifesting thing, that doesn't really serve as a chase tool. It can be somewhat of a mind game, but it's not even a good one because she gets slowed down when she's manifesting back up. So that's not really a good chase tool, if it is one, right? So, getting back to it, what about the other killers with teleports, right? Well, they have, you know, a somewhat cooldown, even though it's very quick. Why do they have a one and she doesn't, right? Well, basically, Freddy can actually do something in a chase. He does have an anti-loop, which is the snares. If you're using pallets, well, good luck. Maybe you'll get some advantage from that, but virtually, snares are always been better. But the thing about that is that it might not even work. It might just be as the same thing as Sadako if he's chasing an awake survivor. So, but he still has something he can do in a loop at times with snares. So it's better than Sadako. And Demogorgon has the M2, his shred, which is very quick. It can be used for distance. It can be used to shred up pallets. It can be used for zoning. So, you know, his is a much more higher than those two, right? And you know, that's why it kind of seems fair for them to have like somewhat of a cooldown. And their teleports, you know, go through different conditions. You know, Freddy can only do it through gens, and Demo can only do it after he has it set up, and then he has to go through it, which, well, all that does take time. So, you know, they have different conditions, right? The thing with Sadako is that it's, you know, her conditions are, it's TVs that are around the map, and so it's very RNG. And even after, when she goes through the TV, I don't know if people know this, but there is technically a cooldown, which the TV didn't get shut down for about 40 to 50 seconds. I'm not sure of it, but, and you can turn off the TV for a whole minute if you want, just by taking the tape and turning it off. So I really don't know all this too much, why it's such a very big disgusting, but oh well. That's that, right? And now finally I come to the fourth point, or it's basically this really pathetic kind of excuse where I think it's just hatred, and basically people say, well, that's her problem. It sounds like a her problem thing, you know. She just still should get nerfed, and that's that, you know. Just, oh well, you could just definitely play another killer or something like that. That's the fourth main thing, and I find this one the worst because it's basically, it shows no reasoning to it, right? It's just, you know, nonsense and, you know, hatred towards the killer for absolutely no reason, right? I'm sure you can hate a mechanic of a game, that's totally okay, you know, everyone has their own opinions, everyone can, you know, have their own, and express their own feelings of this stuff, but some of it needs to have logic, right? I only hate a killer if, you know, there's something wrong with it. Take, for example, Old Spirit, or when Legion first came out. You know, if there's something wrong with it, then, you know, definitely it needs to go, right? It needs to go. But in this case, if you, I can 100% assure you, if you've played Sadako, then you know this is not the case. And if you're a very good survivor, you probably also know this is not the case, right? And in terms of that, the whole having your own feelings, things towards things, well, that's vice versa too, because there are people that might hate this killer, but there are people that might like it, right? I hate Hag for the main reason that just one factor that I hate of Hag, which is basically she can bomb a bunch of traps around the hook, and basically it kind of creates this impossible situation for the survivor to go unhook, you know, peacefully, because the hack can just return to her, and you're gonna be forced to set off all the traps, and you know, it creates this not really pleasant atmosphere, right? And by the virtue of things, of how this game goes, is that, well, maybe you could probably find a way around that with, I don't know, urban evasion, if you ever use that perk, or if you ever bring a flashlight. But, you know, those rare circumstances aside, it creates a not very pleasant atmosphere, right? So, am I going to, shame anyone that likes playing against Hag? No. Everyone's entitled to their own taste. That's why if you spent your money on something, you can definitely have your say on things of it, right? And we as humans probably could just respect that, but that doesn't really happen sometimes, right? That's what tends to kind of leave at times. And I'm definitely okay with people having different tastes into stuff. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But I kind of have to draw a line when opinions start becoming this hate where it's like, okay, Sadako needs to be nerfed, or this killer needs to be nerfed, right? That's where I kind of have to draw the line, because especially when it's a weak killer on the weaker scale, that's where I kind of have to draw the line, because there is just no room for that, for this killer to be nerfed even more, and then for people who don't want to always just have to play Nurse, Blight, or all the stronger killers over and over again just to have a chance to win, yeah, that's not right? And I'm not gonna say that, Sadako always will lose games. She can definitely win games, but it is different from, a Nurse winning a game or a Blight winning a game where, they have to put some effort in, 100%, but, Sadako, which is on the weaker scale, or any other killer on the weaker scale, has to put even more effort. They most likely can't make one mistake, where that isn't right. You should be allowed to make mistakes, right? But when you're playing these killers, it's not an option. It's not. And yet again, people still try to throw them more under the bus, right? But yeah, that's basically, I wanted to lay this off here. And again, I'm not trying to point fingers at anyone. Now, again, I kind of want to offer a solution to this, and I can basically offer you two solutions. The first and easy solution is to maybe play the killer yourself. Try doing a couple of matches as Sadako, and understanding her power a little bit, so that when you play Survivor, you kind of have more of an idea on how to counter it, right? Because I feel like that's the way you can kind of see how things really are through the killer's shoes, right? So that's my first tip. The second tip is basically you're just gonna have to keep going against them over and over again, so that you can kind of develop a counter on your own, right? And I know this can be achieved because there are pretty much comp survivors that just play survivors, and they probably have friends help them. And you could do this too. You can definitely just have a friend help you with this stuff, right? So, in regards to this all, it's a pretty simple solution. The second one's a little bit harder than the first, but yeah, that's that. And I just kind of get saddened when I see this stuff happen. But again, it happens, and I'm kind of here just trying to help you guys out. So yeah, that's it, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed. I will see you all next one.